Well, let's hear more now from Yasser Hakim. He's in Cairo, joining us from there with more. Yasser, you know, several high-level meetings are planned for in Egypt to discuss the Israel-Palestine conflict. What can you tell us about these meetings?
All right. We understand that obviously the two foreign ministers are already in Cairo. They arrived a while ago. The Turkish foreign minister met with the Egyptian president Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and there was a statement that was released to the press saying that they both worked together and coordinating to their utmost effort to reach a ceasefire with all the sides and also to open a corridor for humanitarian aid to reach the Palestinians and for all casualties to be brought into Egypt for treatment. Also, the foreign minister of Turkey will also meet with the Egyptian foreign minister Sameh Shoukry, and we expect a press conference to take place to understand what have been behind closed doors. The German foreign minister is also in Cairo. She is meeting with the Arab League Secretary General at the moment, and will then head to the Egyptian Foreign Ministry to meet with the Egyptian Foreign Minister. We were told there will be a press conference between the two top diplomats, but later on the Egyptian side said that it has the German Foreign Minister has asked to cancel the press conference. So this is an indication probably that there are a lot of differences between both sides. Egypt, like most of the Arab world, is outraged at the onslaught on the Gaza Strip and has condemned the shelling of civilians and the death toll that is now nearing the 2,000 according to the UN, and 1,300 buildings destroyed also according to the UN so far. And at the other side, obviously, the German foreign minister has just come from Israel, where she had announced the complete support to Israel's actions in the region. So I think this is why we expect the talks between the both sides will be a bit tense behind closed doors. So those are the two main diplomats here in Cairo, and the talks here. Obviously, the Egyptian president is in touch with various regional and international officials to try to hammer out a deal on Palestine, as well as we expect, as you understand, sources telling us that U.S. Secretary of State Blinken will be in Cairo tomorrow, Sunday. Back to you.
Well, Yasser, you know, Rafah is the sole possible crossing point into Sinai for Gaza's 2.3 million residents. What is the situation on the border, and do we know if aid is allowed through?
Okay, so far, as we talk, it's still not allowed through. From Egypt's side, Egypt says that the border is open from Egypt's side. However, from the Gazan side, it has been damaged, according to Egyptian statement, that the border from the Gaza side has been damaged by the Israeli bombardment. We've seen footage of from mobile phones from people living there of the bombing of the Rafah crossing from the Palestinian side, and that Israel is not allowing for renovation or to reopen the border for the passage of any humanitarian aid or for the bringing in any casualties or that needs treatment in Egypt. So far, we understand it's still closed. The U.S. has said that it might be open today, later in the day, for U.S. civilians to pass by into Egypt, but without any details. We don't understand how long it will be open, if this is true, in fact, and will it just be for the U.S. or also Palestinian victims of the bombings by Israel. At the same time, Egypt has increased its military presence around the border from the Egyptian side. We've seen sources also from Egypt saying that there has been more military tanks being brought to the Egyptian side of the border, so it's being more fortified from this side. And there is a lot of humanitarian aid beginning now to be collected, whether from Cairo going to Rafah by road through tens of trucks. We already witnessed today and filmed around 110 trucks that are moving from the Red Crescent and other charity organizations that are moving to Rafah by road. It takes around 5 hours drive, but they will not be going to Rafah, they'll be going to Al Arish. Al Arish is a city that is around 1.5 hours from Rafah, and that's where all the humanitarian aid will be stored until the Rafah border crossing is reopened. There's also aid coming via planes and flights, international aids to Al Arish airport. There is an airport there in Al Arish city where Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and other countries have already sent humanitarian aid and flights to the airport. They will also be stored over there until the border crossing is reopened. Egypt says it is working hard with other sides to try to push to reopen the border to slip through the humanitarian aid, and also to try to stop the ground offensive that Israel is beginning to launch. So this is the situation there at the Rafah border crossing. But here's more about how important this crossing is for the Palestinians.
The Rafah border crossing, established after the Egypt-Israeli peace treaty in 1979, is the only link to the outside world for Palestinians living in Gaza. The Gaza Strip, a narrow coastal territory inhabited by 2.3 million people, has been under Israeli blockade for nearly a decade.
It is very important because there are 6 crossings between Gaza and Israel. All of these crossings are stopped except Rafah crossing. For that reasons, it is very important to cross the individuals, not commodities, not goods, not vehicles, but only for the persons who want to go from and to Egypt. And also when there are a lot of casualties, there is a lot of someone who affected by this war.
The Rafah border crossing is the only route to supply humanitarian aid to Palestinians and receive the injured to be treated in Egyptian hospitals.
We are talking with all leaders and they are contacting us. Everyone and ourselves are adamant that medical and humanitarian aid can reach the Strip at this difficult time.
However, recent Israeli bombardment around the Rafah crossing has prevented humanitarian aid from reaching civilians.
There is a restrictions from Israel that they will attack any convoy that carries about all commodities. For that reason, there is a coordination between Egypt and the United States and the United Nations to facilitate about the entering of these substances to Israel. Jordan and Turkey and most of the Arab countries, they say that they will bring some humanitarian aids. All these substances and all these stuff, they will transfer to Gaza Strip by Arish Airport, not Rafah crossing.
The international community is repeatedly calling for a humanitarian corridor through the Rafah border crossing. However, Israel is rejecting humanitarian aid going into Gaza and has ordered an evacuation of northern Gaza ahead of a possible ground offensive in the coming days. Egypt, meanwhile, says it is not open to an influx of refugees, but is willing to receive casualties coming across for treatment. Yasser Hakim for CGTN, Cairo, Egypt.